Haye Sainte, defended by the King's German Legion, captured by French infantry at 6 p.m. There we are, get a good view. So the French captured Le Haye Sainte, as it says, about 6 o'clock. Put the cannons in there, and we were able to start to cause damage to Wellington's centre. A couple of hours later, the British were able to recapture the farm. And what that did, it took away probably the only advantage Napoleon had at that point. And it wasn't too long after that that the old guard were repulsed from that final French assault on the Allied lines. And the British were able to advance all along the line. Now what I'm doing, walking up this road, as I say, to that white building at the top here. We'll talk a little bit more about that when I get there. So as we look down the road as I'm approaching the top of the other side of the valley, this would have been the view of some of the French formations as they marched down and up the slope to attack the Allies. So we're not very far away from the white building now. Please realise that everything that I'm telling you is purely from an enthusiast's viewpoint or knowledge. It's from somebody who just has an interest in the Battle of Waterloo. I'm a long, long way from being an expert. So there's going to be plenty of mistakes, but I just hope you can enjoy looking around at the location of the battle and some of the significant moments. You can always read up it yourself, as I will be doing when I get home. I know I'm going to be on Amazon and looking for some Waterloo books. So if you've got anybody knows more than I do, and there must be thousands and thousands of people. If you've got any recommendations for books about the Battle of Waterloo, I'd be specifically interested in anything that are eyewitness accounts, first person. So if you can give me any recommendations, please do in the comments. I'd really appreciate getting some kind of guidance on some good reading matter. Continuing on at the side of the busy Brussels to Charleroi Road. Just noticed here on the battlefield a couple of rows of daffodils emerging. €30. I don't know what that is. If you dig them up and who you pay, I don't know. Some more greenery coming through there. On behind me, whole row of daffodils. So this is a public footpath that you can walk right across the battlefield, and I think that will take you to Hugo there in the woods. This is the other side of the valley. This is where the French army was. their infantry formations, their cavalry and their artillery. Don't know if you can see a row of cars parked there. There's about 7 or 8 cars parked in a row. That is the road that Hotel 1815 is on. So that was the front of the Allied armies formations. So this is the view that the French would have from there. But I've come here to see the Belle Alliance, this white building. It was at this place that, or near this place, where Napoleon spent the final couple of hours of the battle. Prior to that, he'd been further back, out of view. He had no view of the battlefield. Napoleon's style of leadership was to give an overall plan of battle to his commanders, and he left them to get on with it, to make deviations or decisions in the heat of the battle. So he was very reliant on the individual talents of his marshals, his field marshals. So as the battle situation deteriorated, no doubt, that caused Napoleon to come nearer so he could view the battlefield. And it was from here that Napoleon started to march down the fields with his old guard, the old Grenadier Guard, the equivalent of the Praetorian Guard, I would guess, to ancient Rome, the bodyguard of the Emperor. And he marched for a short distance with them before being talked into coming back up here. So he would have witnessed the failure of the Old Guard assault and known that the battle was lost. Somewhere in this area. To think the massed formations, blue uniformed French troops, the breastplated cuirassiers filling this area. The other significant part of the battle, or the aftermath of the battle, was when Wellington, who was marching up the valley with the Allied forces, met Blucher, the Prussian leader, coming from this direction, and they met somewhere around La Belle Alliance and spent 5 minutes together. Now, La Belle Alliance, it used to be a restaurant at one point. It's now a nightclub, apparently, on a Friday and a Saturday night. There's some plaque there on the wall, which I will see if I can get across the road. So I think it's saying, in memory of the corps of French, 18th of June 1815. This is a more recent one, Belle Alliance, Wellington and Blucher, Generals Wellington and Blucher, to memorial to the battle. So La Belle Alliance, yes, Blucher and Wellington, the commanders of the two armies, converged here at this point. And I talked yesterday about Wellington. It became known as the Battle of Waterloo through Wellington writing his dispatch from the village of Waterloo. Napoleon wanted to call, or referred to it as the Battle of Mont Saint-Jean, which was like the mount on the other side of the valley. Blucher always wanted the battle to be called La Belle Alliance because they meted up, the two armies met here, the two commanders. So that's the significance of this building. And where I can, I'll put up paintings of these events so you get some idea. Now just further up the road there's two more memorials, one on either side of the road. So you can see this very tall column. I'll tell you, this is the Victor Hugo column memorial. Victor Hugo, of course, wrote, and I never say this right, Les Miserables, Les Miserables. And he wrote that, and he had a great interest in the Battle of Waterloo too. And he actually finished Les Miserables down the road at Mont Saint-Jean, the farm that maybe we'll go to tomorrow when we head to Wellington's headquarters. So Victor Hugo, here we are. And he had a great fascination, apparently, for the battle for Hugo Farm. Very good walking shoe there, only one. So why it's in this position exactly, I'm not sure. And why not down the road at the farm or near the farm. Looks like it's been put in place in 1956, the committee of Victor Hugo. And just over the road, an old bar, the Victor Hugo bar. Bar of champagne. So there. But the main monument that I'm wanting to see here is the other side of the road. Maybe you can just make it out there. It's surrounded by metal railings. I've always been interested in the Napoleon's old guard, the Grenadier Guards, who were his bodyguard, who've been with him throughout all his campaigns. There was an old guard, the young guard. The old guard were like the veterans, had a lot of battle experience, and they were like considered the best of the best. Now, when the British were, the Allies and the Prussians were swarming all over this area, and the French army was in disarray. It was retreating. The old guard formed squares. And this, reputedly, is where they made their last stand. The fallen eagle. I think it was Lord Byron who said something about being here. He said, just be wary that when you walk here, You walk on the dust of an empire. And this was the end of the Napoleonic dream, Napoleon's empire. In this area, the old guard made their final stand. Apparently they were offered the chance to surrender, but shouted an insult, murd, which I think means like shit or something worse. And with that, they were just wiped out. No retreat, no surrender. The combatants of the Grand Army. The fallen eagle on one of the broken pole of a regimental eagle with the N for Napoleon on the base of the eagle. Beautiful metalwork here. Again, special spot this. Or there would still be another battle in the Napoleonic era when there was some sort of reforming of the French army momentarily. They defeated the Prussians in France, but this was the end for Napoleon. He left Waterloo, well, the Battle of Waterloo, made his way back to Paris with at first believing that he could get together enough men to go again, but the next day he more or less signed his abdication, leaving the throne to his young son. The old guard died here.